So we are discussing from a very, very important, life-changing, miraculous life manual called Bhagavad Gita. And we dedicate this presentation to our dear spiritual master, His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, who actually taught us a lot of things, and one of which we're going to discuss today is Kaala Chakra, or the cycle of time. And this we're going to discuss from various perspectives. So many times when we talk about time, people speak a lot of things. Some people feel when they're snoozing the alarm, they have a lot of time. And then when some good thing is going to happen and you're invited, so at that time people say, I have very little time. I want to finish the task. I wish I had more time. I don't have time. And sometimes when unmarried boys say, I don't have time, I tell my mind, बच्चा शादी होने दो पता चलेगा. Literally, I have seen somehow the bachelor boys, they keep telling more, I don't have time. But there are so many married people who come to our sessions, I don't know how they get so much of time. They have a life partner, and then the life partner will get two more partners, babies, and they'll take away all the time. Now what is there in your life? Morning get up, somehow take bath, somehow gulp something for breakfast, put clothes, go to office, come back, do some work, sleep. अरे भाई शादी होने के बाद morning evening both times are gone. And the wife will tell चलो shopping जाना है, पापा garden लेके चलो तो कहाँ से time आएगा फिर? So sometimes I really wonder when people say I don't have time. Really? But yes, these are the common things that people speak. And then at times people say, अभी मेरा खराब time चल रहा है, अभी मेरा बहुत अच्छा time चल रहा है. So these are the different terminologies that people use, different lines that people use in the day-to-day life. But one thing is for sure, successful people and very effective leaders are those who are very careful in using their precious time. Very, very careful. So today we're going to learn a lot of different things. Some information from Vedic scriptures, some very, very important aspect of our own lives, and obviously how to manage time. This is what we're going to discuss in today's session. Perception of time. There are two perceptives or perspectives. First, it's called as eternal or absolute, eternal time. And second is relative time. So we're going to discuss these two now. This is from 11th chapter, shloka number 32. Please repeat. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Kalosmi Lokakshay Krit Pravridho Lokan Samahartum Iha Pravrittaha Kritepi Tvam Na Bhavishyanti Sarve Evastitaha Pratya Anikeshu Yodhaha. Someone read the translation.
The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, I am the great destroyer of the world, and I have come here to destroy all the people. With the exception of you, the Pandavas, all the soldiers here on both sides will be slain.
So here the Lord is telling, Kalosmi, I am Kala, I am time. And what does time do? He is saying, Lokakshay Krit Pravridha. Pravridha means great. So I'm the great destroyer. I'm the great destroyer. This is what is the definition that Lord is giving about time. So I'm sure the ones who have attended my sessions regularly till now, so we learned a lot of things, like the Pancha Mahabhutas. Earth, water, fire, air, ether. Then we have learnt about the mind, intelligence, false ego. And then we also learnt about karma, the modes of material nature. So what is this time all about now? Let's try to understand that. So time is like when we cook. I'm sure you might be cooking, or at least you might be seeing people cook. So in a vessel they'll put everything in proper quantity, whatever. And then on the fire, they'll keep the vessel for some time. Yes? And the cooking happens. Similarly, all these different entities which we have learned till now, they interact with each other with a given amount of time. Now, there are two important things that the time does. First, controller. So, time moves and controls everything in this world. And second is destroyer. Time moves everything towards destruction. So, we're going to focus a lot of time on this particular aspect of Kaala. So, now let's try to analyze the eternal time now. Now, this is an information which I would like to give to all of you from the Vedic scriptures. Let's calculate Brahma's lifespan. Okay? So, mathematics is needed here. Let's begin. Now, when it comes to Kali Yuga, so what is the lifespan of Kali Yuga? What is the span, duration that is given in scriptures as 4,32,000 years? Kali Yuga lifespan. Till now, only 5,000 years have been passed. Only 5,000 years. So 4,27,000 years are still there. So, ज़्यादा tension मत लो. I remember this was, I think, 2011 or something like that, 2012, where people were like, now the entire world is going to get destroyed. But nothing is going to happen. 4,27,000 years are still remaining. Sometimes I really wonder, कि now only the situation is so horrible, what is going to happen? Means, just imagine the last day of Kali Yuga. Already people are so horrible. Last day of Kali Yuga, how horrible people would become. How the horrible situation would be. 4,32,000 years. So, multiplied by 2 times, that is the duration of Dwapar Yuga. So, if you consider X as Kali Yuga's duration, then 2x is Dwapar Yuga. 3x is Treta Yuga and 4x is Satya Yuga. So, add all of that. 4x plus 3x plus 2x plus 1x. Simple ऐसे count करके भी हो जाता है. 10x, yes? So now this 10x is the duration of all the 4 cycles together, and technically when you put all 4 cycles together, it is called as one Divya Yuga. Okay? So one Divya Yuga consists of Satya Yuga, Treta Yuga, Dwapar Yuga and Kali Yuga. Okay? Now let's get into more deeper mathematics. Numbers are going to increase. Now there's something called as, there's a unit called Manvantara. So Manvantara basically has 71 Divya Yugas. 71 Divya Yugas. One Divya Yuga is 10x. 71 Divya Yuga? 710x. Okay? Now, in the life of Brahma, there are 14 Manvantaras. 14 Manvantaras. Okay? So 14 into 710x. Batao kitna? Okay, don't worry. I'll help you out. Okay, plus 14 Manvantaras are there. Plus there is something called as Sandhyas. So now Sandhya is like, there are, the span between the 2 yugas. When yugas change, the span between the 2 yugas. So one Sandhya, for your calculation, 4x. Okay? So these Manvantaras and Sandhyas put together, 14 Manvantaras plus 15 Sandhyas put together in the form of x, it comes to 10,000x. Which goes on to say 1,000 Divya Yugas. One day of Brahma consists of 1,000 Divya Yugas. You all remember Divya Yuga, what is it? Satya Yuga plus Treta Yuga plus Dwapar Yuga plus Kali Yuga. This is one Divya Yuga. So like that, in a day of Brahma, there are 1,000 Divya Yugas. This is the day. Night is also equivalent. So into 2. 2000x. This is day plus night. Now we'll talk about the year. So now year, say roughly we'll consider it as 360. 360 into 2000x. And he lives for 100 years like that. Into 100. Now if you put all of that together, Brahma's lifespan, you cannot calculate on the calculator. It is 311 trillion 40 billion years. 300 trillion 40 billion years. So as I was telling, there are 14 Manvantaras, yes, and each Manvantara has 71 Divya Yogas. So again, for your information, the current Kali Yuga that is going on is a part of 7th Manvantara, okay, and 28th Divya Yuga. 7th Manvantara, 28th Divya Yuga. So now sometimes people ask that when will Pralaya happen? There are two types of Pralayas which are there. One is called as partial annihilation, another one is called as complete annihilation. Partial annihilation will happen at the end of the day of Brahma. That is 2000x, at the end of the day of Brahma. Or 2000 Divya Yugas, sorry. And when it comes to complete annihilation, when Brahma dies after 100 years of Brahma's lifespan, not our lifespan, Brahma's lifespan. But you know what? This is Brahma's lifespan, but if you consider the eternal time, in that Brahma's lifespan is like a flash. It's just a flash in the eternal time span, a flash. Now I was just thinking about our existence. So Brahma lives for 300 trillion, 40 billion years and will live for maximum 100 years. Now tell me, if Brahma's lifespan is a flash in the eternal time, what about ours? I don't think we exist also then. We are a very, very minute, invisible, more invisible than coronavirus. Yes. Can you imagine? See, when you consider the entire eternity and then analyze our existence, automatically you'll understand that how insignificant we are. But still, you see, the mind tricks us so much and still we are egoistic. I am something. So whenever we feel that I am something and proud of something, you have to just think about Brahma's lifespan. 311 trillion, 40 billion years. Then all the pride and everything will be... This is a very, very important thing because humility is the beginning of one's spiritual advancement. Many times people ask, how to advance in spirituality? When we are humble, understanding our existence in this entire creation, then we advance very, very fast. But then when we are proud, thinking, सब कुछ पता है अभी, ये तो टकले लोग बोलते रहते हैं, हमारा काम है सुनना, follow तो नहीं करेंगे. Whatever it is, very difficult to follow, very difficult to practice. I heard a nice pastime of a rishi called Lomasa Rishi. This particular story of Lomasa Rishi will help you to understand the urgency of time. Can you all come a bit forward? Yes. Sit in such a way that there is no lot of space in between two people. Shift to your right, left, and adjust yourself in such a way so that people who come at late, they can sit. अभी अच्छा लग रहा है. Yes. Story of Lomasa Rishi. Please hear, everyone. So now Lomasa Rishi's lifespan. Please hear. So after the end of every day of Brahma, one hair from the body of Lomasa Rishi falls. Okay? After the end of one day of Brahma, one hair from the body will fall. Like that, Lomasa Rishi's lifespan is when all the hair of the body will fall, then he will die. Okay? So one day when Lomasa Rishi was in his meditation, his disciples came and he said, Oh our dear spiritual master, we want to build a hut for you so that you can be in the hermitage and practice or do your meditation. And Lomasa Rishi looked at them angrily and he said, I already have very less time span. Don't waste. Let's do spiritual activity. So when I heard this for the first time, my hair didn't fall, but it stood on end. Erect, goosebumps. Means that person is living such a long life and he is saying time is very short, time is very less. Then what about us? Means हमारा तो existence ही नहीं है. चालू होते ही खत्म. That's how our existence is. So importance of time is something which we have to realize. And accordingly invest our time in the right thing. Very, very important. And with time, everything deteriorates. Everything. I'm sure you might have heard something called entropy. So as the time increases, the entropy increases. Entropy basically means the the disarrangement of a particular substance. So it all gets scattered with time. As the entropy increases, it all gets scattered with time. So this is what happens with us. With time, everything in this world get deteriorated. Everything. Like for example, in the age of Kali Yuga, in the age or in Divya Yuga, even the yugas will deteriorate with time. Satyuga, people who are at really very high level of spiritual practices, ethical values, moral values, whatever. Then Treta Yuga, Dwapar Yuga, Kali Yuga. I heard a very nice story. Story nahi, joke hi hai ye to. So how donations were given from Satyuga to Kali Yuga. So whatever people would earn in Satyuga, they would give it to the Lord as donation. Complete. Then comes Treta Yuga. They said, "Abhi pura to nahi de sakte." They drew a line. And they decided, I'll throw all my wealth, whatever I earn, and whatever falls that side of the line, I'll donate. This side of the line, mine. And then Dwapar Yuga came and people said, "Nahi, bahut zyada gir raha hai wo side." They drew a circle, small circle. And their idea was, now whatever wealth I earn, I'll throw that up. Whatever falls in the circle, I'll give it to the Lord. And what falls outside the circle, I'll keep it for myself. Now Kali Yuga comes. So no line, no circle. In Kali Yuga, people throw it up and they tell, "Jitna pakadna pakad lo." Yes. So belong to that category. Actually, this is on a lighter note, but on a serious note, if you see, there are 4 pillars of Dharma. Anyone knows? 4 pillars of Dharma? No? Truthfulness, austerity, then mercifulness, and cleanliness. These are the 4 pillars of Dharma. And one after another, with each yuga, one leg of Dharma started going down, or was reducing, or was broken. This is how it is given in Srimad Bhagavatam. In Dwapar Yuga, all 4 were present. In Treta Yuga, austerity was lost. In Dwapar Yuga, austerity, cleanliness were lost. And when it comes to Kali Yuga, austerity, cleanliness and mercifulness was lost. In Kali Yuga, the least thing that still remains is truthfulness. You can still find some people who are truthful. And in our legal transactions, if a person is not truthful, the person is put behind bars. He is penalized. So even in Kali Yuga, only last part is remaining. So Dharma is compared to a bull with 4 legs, but then in Kali Yuga, Dharma is standing on 1 leg. This is what is the description that is given. So in this way, we see that with time, even the age degrades. Satyuga to Kali Yuga, things will degrade. Now in a day also there is degradation. In a day also there is degradation. What is the degradation? Early morning is called as Brahma Murta, from 4:30 to 6:30. That's a very, very auspicious time, very, very effective, productive time to do anything, and especially for the meditation. So in ISKCON, if you come from 4:30 to 6:30 or 7:30, you'll find us doing meditation here for 2 hours, and we have Aarti and other things during that time. So what happens with time? As the time increases in the day, passion starts. From mode of goodness, passion will start. And then as the day gets into the evening, ignorance gets in. So you see, we are very fresh in the morning, then gets passionate, running around, and then when we come in the evening time, sleeping. So in this way, even the entire day gets degraded with time. So we spoke about the entire yuga, we spoke about the entire day. Now let's speak about ourselves. A very nice quote or a nice teaching from our dear spiritual master Srila Prabhupada. He says, the body is subject to 6 kinds of transformations. It takes its birth from the womb of the mother's body, that is birth, remains for some time, grows, produces some effects or byproducts, gradually dwindles, and at last vanquishes into oblivion. So these are the 6 transformations that all of us go through. What are those? We take birth and we remain some time, we grow, we produce some byproducts like kids, etc. And then gradually we will dwindle and at last vanish. So in this way, these are the 6 transformations, not of ourselves, of this body. Because we are spirit soul. Spirit soul is eternal. Even science says that every 5 to 7 years, the entire body changes. All the cells in the body, they actually die and new cells are formed in the entire body. And with time, we see in our life itself, our physical strength, mental strength, all that goes on reducing. Our memory power goes on reducing. Have you all met old people? Yes. When you see, look at them and ask them how they were in the past, you'll get to know that how strong they were, how sharp they were. But with time, the physical strength, the memory power, everything goes on reducing and reducing and reducing. So in this way, we understand that the strength reduces. I remember I heard this in one of the, I think it was a news long time back. So there was some movie which they were making of ancient kings. So the celebrity hero who was there, he was like, मैं artificial नहीं उठाऊंगा. Talwar and that, what do you call the shield. He said that sword and shield, I'm not going to take the artificial one. You get the real one from the museum. I will use that in the entire movie. So they said, okay, chalo, we'll go to the museum. And then he was asked, no, go pick that. And he couldn't do anything with the sword. He couldn't lift. Forget about moving. He couldn't lift. This is how the strength is. Strength of a Kali Yuga Jiva. Yes. And time is literally ticking and flying, as we all know. And with time, with ticking and flying of time, all that what I described till now, all that happens. Memory, power, strength, all that goes on reducing. I have got a nice image here. That how our body degrades. Look at this. From chota bacha and then we go up, and maybe youth that all of us are in. And then get married thoda sa upar and then down starts. Yes. उसके बाद भी कुछ होता है, मैंने वो निकाल दिया. That is understood. Yes, the person dies and then his existence is no more. So here it's a very important point to note. When a child takes birth, child is without teeth, without hair, strength is almost zero, always on the bed. And when the person is dying, same thing happens. All hair falls, teeth will fall, hardly any strength in the body. So in this way we see that the person strength goes on degrading with time. And whatever we accumulate in our life, entire life, whatever we accumulate, all that is destroyed. Right? A nice image. What does time do? Everything to nothing. This is what is a job of time. When I was making this PPT, I was just thinking that everyone knows this. See, I am not speaking any rocket science, no. You might be thinking, ye sab pata tha. But my point is that when we know all this, how serious are we about our life? There's a nice description that is given. Our lifespan is like the lifespan of the water bubble on the surface of water. How long the water bubble stays on the surface of water in the bucket? No one knows. When it will burst, no one knows. You can do this activity. Tomorrow morning when you want to take bath, when the water is falling in the bucket, just look at the bubbles. And the bubbles, some of them will burst at the source itself, some of them will stay for some time, burst in the middle, some of them will burst at the rim. But it will burst. No one knows how long it will be there. Right? I was hearing from one of my students, I think 38-year-old man, very healthy, strong, very opulent, lot of talent was there, very wealthy. I think today only I got to hear this in the afternoon. That person slept at night, morning he didn't get up. Very healthy. But what happened? No one knows. He just left the body. Yes. So the point is that anything can happen at any time. We have to know and we have to be serious about the life. That is very, very important. Now, with time, everything deteriorates. Is there anything that grows with time? This is the question. And let's try to answer this question now. A very nice shloka from Bhagavad Gita. Second chapter, shloka number 40. Neha vikramanaşosti pratyavayo na vidyate swalpamapyasya dharmasya trayate mahato bhaya. Someone read the translation?
In this endeavor, there is no loss or diminution, and a little advancement on this path can protect one from the most dangerous type of fear.
Yes. Let me explain this shloka in a bit deeper way. See, whatever we accumulate in our life, be it any possessions, wealth, family, friends, relatives, whatever. So whatever we possess, that is all related to this body, right? Right? It's all related to this body. So now when the body is going to get destroyed, so with time, everything that is related to this body is going to get destroyed. Simple logic. But what is eternal? Soul. So now whatever is related to the soul, that will remain eternal. How's that? Whatever related to the body will get destroyed with time. That's what Kaala is doing, Kaala Chakra is doing. But then, whatever is connected with the soul, that will remain. So all our material possessions, material activities, everything will get destroyed with time. Our material strength, material intelligence, material sharpness and memory, everything will go down with time. But then, that which is connected to the soul will remain eternal. What is that is connected to the soul? Soul is called a spirit, right? So material, we have material activities. Spirit, we have spiritual activities. So you know what? When we do any spiritual activity, like when we do any material activity, we get some credits for that. Like you work, you earn, right? Similarly, when you do any spiritual activity, you actually earn something called as spiritual credits. And these spiritual credits are eternal. How do we understand this? That these spiritual credits are eternal. Let's dive deep into this topic now. Now with time, as we said, the material things go on reducing, gets destroyed. But then when we take birth, the next birth that we take, the next birth is decided based on the past material activities. What good deeds we did, what bad deeds we did. Papa Punya basically. This we have covered in one of our sessions. Again, it will come later. So based on that, we'll get a birth. Similarly, based on our spiritual credit, our inclination towards spirituality will be decided. So this comes in the 6th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. Arjuna is asking Krishna that, oh Krishna, what happens to that person who has not been able to attain that ultimate destination in this very life? So what happens to him if he is a sincere practitioner? And Krishna is answering what happens to him in various ways. So one thing for us to relate is, you see, there are approximately around 90 to 100 people sitting here in this hall. Why only you people are here? We have registered more than 700 participants now who are like, oh yes, we will come. But then you people are coming here, and some of you are extremely regular. Yes. Why so? This question has to be asked. Why is it that I have this spiritual inclination? I want to know about Bhagavad Gita. I want to literally dive deep into this path of self-realization. Why is it that only I have? Why is it that this neighbor does not have? Why is it that the thelawala does not have? Why this person does not have? This question should come. This goes on to say that more the amount of spiritual credits that a person has, more the spiritual inclination, more sincerity and more seriousness towards spiritual practice. For your information, this is not the first time that you are attending session on Gita. Yes. Shastras say that we have been doing this for quite some time, but then kya kare? We start and beech mein we leave it. And we get into time pass. And again, next life we start. Again leave it. I've seen some people, as soon as they hear the word Bhagavad Gita, kuch hota hai unko. As soon as they do mantra meditation, they feel something. And I've met some people who are like, right from day one, as soon as they get to know about this, they become extremely serious. Extremely. See, in one day, giving up all the bad habits and just taking up to spiritual practice very seriously is not a joke. But I have met so many people like that. So many. And they will never miss a single session. I've seen some of my students never miss a single session. They'll just grow and grow and grow. This is a sign that the person has been carrying forward where he has left. That's what the shloka says. It says the spiritual credits that we get by endeavor on this path of spirituality, two things, is never lost and is never reduced in the quantity. Like money that we use, it can be lost, but with time it will reduce also. But the spiritual credits that we get, it doesn't reduce with time, and it always keeps increasing. Always keeps increasing. That's how the spiritual inclination keeps on increasing. The person becomes more and more serious and sincere in a spiritual practice. That's why I keep telling all of you that you need not worry so much. No, are you getting interest, not getting interest? Just make sure you're there in this place on every single Sunday evening. What happens? With time, your spiritual credit will increase, logically speaking, and with time, your inclination will also increase, and your life will be blissful. Simple as that. So, by understanding this concept, this question should come now: that where should I invest my time, and what will remain with me forever? See, we have to be a bit intelligent, to decide on this, right? So many times people say, in your office ka kaam itna zyada hai na Prabhuji ki time nahi milta hai. Mantra meditation and all, there's no time. But please understand that whatever we're doing in our material life is for this material body. And whatever we do, spiritual practices, that's for the spirit soul. And spirit soul is eternal and not the material body. So one boy was very, very much tightly scheduled. His entire schedule was so tight, so hectic. So I asked him, क्या हो गया, दिख नहीं रहो आप? What happened? Always tense. मेरा release है. मेरा office में release है. You understand? Release, tape out, whatever you call it as. So I'm working very hard. So I just looked at him and said that someday even this body will be released. Work for it little. वो पता नहीं वो कीड़ा आ गया अंदर से, मैं क्या करूँ? Naturally it came. And that's the truth, right? So at least little time, not full day, at least little time, at least half an hour a day, where you chant for 15 minutes and 15 minutes of reading at least one shloka of Gita. That's enough to start with. If you don't have taste, you'll not be able to do much. That's obvious. But then with time, when you're consistent, it will happen. You'll get taste. You'll be able to proceed in spiritual life. Consistency is the key to the advancement in spiritual life. Please make a note of it. Consistency is the key to the advancement in spiritual life. The one who is not consistent, तो उसको बोर होने लग जाएगा. क्या चल रहा है ये? जो हर संडे कुछ ना कुछ बोलता रहता है. I'm not getting any interest. I'll not go. This is what will happen. This is what will happen with time. Consistent practice. So I'm very much concerned with those people who are coming regularly but not chanting every day. I'm very much concerned with them. Every day at least one mala of Hare Krishna Mahamantra should be done. If not, then with time we'll lose interest, we'll stop coming. And after some time, we'll realize, no, seriously lena chahiye tha. And at the time of death, pakka the realization will come. I lost it. And that lamentation and that guilt at the time of death is very, very, very deep and very painful. Very painful. Please come forward, if any space is there in between. So now the question is, where should I invest time and what will remain forever? So where should I invest time? This we'll answer through this video. I'm sure you might have learnt about this video or seen this video or heard about the rocks, pebbles. Suna hai na? Rock, pebbles, sand, water. Okay, if you're not, no problem. Now we can see.
There's a well-known story about a university professor who wanted to make a point about how we make the most of our time. The professor stood before his class with some items in front of him. When the class began, without speaking, he picked up a large empty jar and proceeded to fill it with rocks about 2 inches in diameter. He then asked the students if the jar was full. They agreed that it was full. So the professor then picked up a box of pebbles and poured them into the jar. He shook the jar lightly and watched as the pebbles rolled into the open areas between the rocks. The professor then asked the students again if the jar was full. They chuckled and agreed that it was indeed full this time. The professor picked up a box of sand and poured it into the jar. The sand filled the remaining open areas of the jar. Now, said the professor, I want you to recognize that this jar signifies your life. The rocks are the truly important things, such as family, health, and relationships. If all else was lost, and only the rocks remained, your life would still be meaningful. The pebbles are the other things that matter in your life, such as work or school. The sand signifies the remaining small stuff and material possessions. If you were to put sand into the jar first, there is no room for the rocks or the pebbles. The same can be applied to your lives. If you spend all your time and energy on the small stuff, you will never have room for the things that are truly important. Pay attention to the things in life that are critical to your happiness and well-being. Take time to look after your health, play with your children, go for a run, write a letter to your grandmother. There will always be time to go to work, clean the house, or watch TV. Take care of the rocks first. The things that really matter, set your priorities. The rest is just pebbles and sand.
That makes sense? Yes. So here we understand a very, very important thing, the rocks. Yes. He said, give more time, invest time, for family and your health and relationships. I would like to add here a very important point. Relationships, yes, we have to. But then we cannot forget the eternal relationship that we have to establish with the Supreme Lord through spiritual practice. We have to invest time for that. Very, very, very important. I've seen many of the times that, see, all of us, we are going through our life, yes? And there will be ups and downs many times. So I've seen so many people when they go low in their life, in the low phase, it's so difficult for them, to come up. And they struggle a lot, many weeks, sometimes months, and sometimes years. But then if a person is a spiritual practitioner, for him, if he goes low, to come up is very, very easy. Because he has that substance within. But unfortunately, if he's not a spiritual practitioner, it's very difficult. Very difficult. So investing time in spiritual practice is very, very important, which will make everything else fall in place. Your health will be intact because you'll be disciplined. Your relationship will be intact because your behavior will be proper. Yes. And when it comes to other things which are there, your work and whatever stuff, you'll be productive in that particular thing. Here, I would like to mention about effectively utilizing our time, Kaala. Last 2 slides or 3 slides for today. There's a very, very important shloka that we're going to discuss now. And this particular thing you can carry home today. And this will help you to be productive in your day-to-day life, in terms of your office work, in terms of your spiritual practice, and so on. Brahma bhotaha prasannatma na shochati na kankshati samaha sarveshu bhuteshu madbhaktim labhate param. Translation.
One who is transcendentally situated at once realizes the Supreme Brahman and becomes fully joyful. He never laments or desires to have anything. He is equally disposed towards every living entity. In that state, he attains pure devotional service unto me.
Don't worry about this. I'll explain in simple words. Now, when they ask me that how to manage time, I'm sure all of us have made timetable at least few times in our life, school days, college days, and while studying, and then you paste it on the study table, follow it one day and forget rest of the time. Yes. And then you become angry and then you scrap it out. Not able to follow. So this happens with everyone. You know what happens actually? Who is the culprit? Our mind is the culprit. So what happens with the mind basically is, the mind will always take us to past and it will lament for those things which we have lost. And the second thing that the mind does is, it will always take us to future and always keep hankering for those things which we don't have. And when we are never in present. Now see, you're doing some work. Okay, I'll ask you your personal experience. All the ones who are working now when you were studying, and the ones who are studying now, students. Is there any time when you sat for studying And one paragraph you have read it 10 times and still you're not able to understand. हुआ है सबके साथ? Yes. And there have been times where you just read it, the entire chapter, and you're done. 5-10 minutes, you're like, done. So what's happening at that time when you're reading the same thing again and again? What is happening? The mind is not there in that place. Very simple. The mind is going here, there, everywhere, and then same line you're using, reading, not understanding. And next day you read the same line, done. So this is called as Shochati and Kangshati. Being in the past, Shochati, lamenting about the past, and being in the future, hankering for something in the future, that is called as Kangshati. So what happens is, when a person starts practicing spirituality, yes, he learns an art of being in the moment. This is the buzzword in the corporate. Being in the moment, being in the present. Right? So when we are in the moment, when we are there, present at the moment, like all of you are looking at me, hopefully you all are present. Sahi hai na? I don't think you are in the past or future. All of you present, no? झूठे भगवान के सामने झूठ नहीं बोलना चाहिए. Anyways, so when we are in the present, what happens is we can make maximum utilization of whatever we are doing. When you say that my productivity is low, please understand you're not in the present. Very simple. You're not in the present. When you're not able to focus, you're not in the present. Very simple. So, when you practice spirituality, when you do mantra meditation, what are we doing for 10 minutes that we do? Mantra meditation, you try to focus on the mantra and be in the present mantra. So this is the practice that we're doing every single day. Every time when we do mantra meditation, this is what we try to do, focus on the mantra. And the principles of Bhagavad Gita, look at this practical shloka, it's very clear. If a person is there in the present, he can be fully satisfied and blissful, and he is the person who can actually advance in spirituality. So the key for being in the present is practice of spirituality or spiritual practices every single day. Without that, it's very, very difficult to progress. Very, very difficult. And if we are not in the moment, we'll not be able to progress in material life also. Forget about spiritual life, material life also. Right? Now, there is nothing called as I'm not able to do it, so just let me leave it. It doesn't happen like that. So when Arjuna was speaking to Krishna, he started talking about his mind. He said, Chanchalam himana Krishna pramati balavadridam tasyaham nigraham manye vayor eva sudushkaram. He's saying, oh Krishna, I cannot control my mind. I cannot be in the present. My mind is chanchal. My mind is flickering. Chanchalam himana Krishna pramati balavad dridam. It's obstinate. It is very strong. It is very ziddhi what to do. And he's saying, controlling the wind and controlling the mind is the same. This is what he's saying. To this, you know what Krishna answers? He says, Abhyasena tu Kaunteya. He says, O Kaunteya, O son of Kunti, O Arjuna, Abhyasa. Do practice. With practice it will happen. So, with practice, maybe you'll be able to be in the moment for 5 minutes. Zyada ho gaya 5 minutes. 1 minute. Then 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 4 minutes, 5. It will increase. And there will be a time when you'll be able to focus the entire day. Similarly with mantra meditation. Maybe it will start with 1 mantra, 2 mantra. Go on and on and on. There will be a time when you'll be able to focus more than 90% of it. So this is called as the benefit, the ultimate benefit of practicing spirituality, being in the moment. And now when we are hearing, being in the moment, when we are chanting, being in the moment, when we are attending Aarti, being in the moment, the person progresses in spirituality like anything. Like anything. The last slide for today. Make time for spiritual practices. अब मेरा काम है बोलना. आप करो नहीं करो मैं क्या कर सकता हूँ. मेरी तो life बन गई already. So these are things. Only 4 things that you can do which will help you to progress in spirituality or spiritual life. First is chanting the holy names of the Lord, that is mantra meditation. Second, reading Bhagavad Gita and other prescribed books. Third, hearing from pure devotees. And fourth, attending such satsang. See, when you're sitting here, you're not sitting with ordinary people, please understand. There are like lakhs of people in Bangalore. Out of that, we have good lakhs of people who are youth, boys, working in corporate. There are some students also. From that, we have this lot, 100 people sitting here. It's not ordinary. Every single person sitting here, has that sincere desire. Maybe the quantity might vary. Someone might have sincere desire with this much. Someone will have this much sincere desire to progress on the path of spirituality. That's very, very, very amazing. So we're getting such association. And when you come together like this, automatically you will get a desire, I want to do it. Very simple. So these are the 4 things. Mantra meditation, reading Bhagavad Gita, at least one shloka. I have put so much effort to record those 10 minutes videos on each and every shloka of Gita. There are 700 shlokas. So you can watch that, it's just 10 minutes video. Some videos are just 5 minutes also. Third, hearing from devotees. Come physically and attend the sessions. And finally, satsang. That is, come together with like-minded, spiritually like-minded corporate professionals and students and share your realizations. So this will make sure that we'll be in present and will progress both materially and spiritually. Any questions? Any questions?
एक क्वेश्चन है, जैसे जो महाभारत हुई है या जो रामायण है, तो ये इसी दिव्य युग की है या मतलब हमें अच्छा तो प्रीवियस दिव्य युग का हमें नहीं?
It is there in Srimad Bhagavatam. Srimad Bhagavatam talks about all the Manvantaras also. Yeah. Anything else? Okay. So if there are no questions, huh?
Thinking about tilak, what is the difference between Vaishnava tilak and normal tilak?
Tilak, huh?
Yeah.
Oh, I was speaking about Kaala, Chakra, you went to Tilak. Okay. So basically, this is a mark, which represents various things. So when you're looking at this Tilak, so this represents the lotus feet of the Lord, and this represents the Tulasi, that is offered. Yeah. Other Tilaks I don't know. Because nowadays people put whatever they want to. Yes. So it's very difficult. Now in Kali Yuga, people, what they do, they only know. And they call it as spiritual. So it's it's difficult to comprehend what they're doing. Okay, so if no questions, I'll be,
Like if we plan something for future and we are not able to do it, then should we be upset about that? That we are today we have planned this and we are not able to do it. Should we be upset about it, or we should think like might be something God don't want to do that, that's why we were not able.
So his question is, if we are not able to do something as we have planned, so what are we supposed to do? What should be our response to that? What should be our thought process? See, there are many factors when we have work. There are many factors those are involved. One is our own endeavor. Are we giving our 100% or not? Along with that, our past deeds also act. The papa and punya that is there, that also acts. And in one of the sessions that we had discussed, the 3 modes of material nature, mode of goodness, passion, ignorance, that also affects. Our habits that we have, that also affects. A person cannot sin all the time and expect success in life. Not possible. Yes. Living a very, very impure life and thinking that a person will attain success. Maybe some of the few people can attain because of their past credits, what they have. But then, in general, it is not possible according to Shastra. Not possible. Right? So what should be our response? A spiritualist will always respond like this, that I have given my best, let me be satisfied with that. Because a spiritualist will not worry about the result, he will worry about the endeavor. And spiritualist will not take bliss from the result, but he takes bliss from the endeavor. If he has given his 100%, he is happy. The result comes or not. But by the way, whatever I said now is very high level. But it is possible to attain this state when we're actually practicing spirituality every single day. Every single day. Just a matter of 10 15 minutes of chanting and 15 minutes of reading Gita. This effect will come. With time, we are also learning that. We are experiencing also. It's very blissful. Very nice. what happens between the two yugas, the sandhya that is there, it is just a transition period. Now, where we cannot call it as this yuga or that yuga. A mixture of many qualities.
With time, we know that our body deteriorates. We see that when we become old. But soul is eternal. That's what we say, right? But what is the proof that how to believe?
About the soul, existence of soul.
How is it eternal?
Okay. So I had given already a session, 1.5 hour session on this. Yes. So that session will come again. It's a cycle that we have. So maybe after 3-4 sessions again that session will come. So you can attend that. Many ways we can understand. So there's something called as reincarnation, which is proved. Scientifically also it is proved that how a person is able to recollect his past life. Right? So say a person dies and you burn the body at one place. And another person somewhere else, he is able to recollect the memories. What is that common link between the two? Yes. And that common link, science says it's consciousness. And Shastra, Vedic scriptures say, it is consciousness, but symptom of soul. So soul has to be the common. So soul moves from one body to another like that at the time of death. And we have shlokas in Bhagavad Gita, 2nd chapter, shloka number 13, gives the proof. It says, Dehinosmin yatha dehe kaumaram yauvanam jara tatha dehantara praptir dhiras tatra namunyati. It says that Dehinosmin yatha dehe kaumaram yauvanam jara. As the soul passes from boyhood to youth to old age. As you all today we discussed, the body deteriorates with time, the body changes. But the soul is constant. How to understand? The identity of the person is constant. Yes? And then tatha dehantara praptir dhiras tatra namunyati. When the body is useless, the soul goes to another body depending on one's past karma. I was giving this example in that session that when a person dies, we don't call that body by name. We will never say that when will Michael be cremated? Right? What do we say? Body be cremated. So identity gone. The body is lying there, but identity is gone. Right? So in this way we understand that as soon as something leaves from the body, the identity goes away. And where Bhagavad Gita says, what is that something? That something is spirit soul. 2nd chapter of Bhagavad Gita elaborately discusses about this particular topic.
Is there any way to calculate our past credits and what is the relation between that Karma Chakra and Kaala Chakra?
Oh, what is the relation between Karma Chakra and Kaala Chakra? That's a nice topic for my session. So Karma Chakra and Kaala Chakra obviously are interrelated because whatever we, in this Kaala Chakra, our time duration in this body, whatever activities we do, that will affect the next chakra that we're going to get into. Next Kaala Chakra that we're going to get into. Yes. So obviously there is a relation because the current life that we have got. Now this is a very common sense. I have given a session on karma and this is how I started the session. That some people are born rich, some people are born poor, some people are healthy, some people are not. Yes. Some people are very, very good looking, some people are not that good looking. How is it so much of difference? And the answer is based on their previous karma chakra. Now they get into this particular thing. Yes. Means everyone is given something based on their previous credits that they have.
Can we calculate that?
So it's very complicated. You know why? Because it is not just dependent on the past life. It is dependent on many, many past lives which are there. So it's very difficult to think also about which karma is actually blasting now in my life currently. So it's not possible. Very difficult. Like that. वैसे भी क्या करें calculate करके? Yes. This is the last question. Then we'll do mantra meditation. Now, suppose a person dies now, he has to take birth, again. So, chalta rahega. Again yuga, next yuga, and then eternally chal raha hai. I was hearing in one of the class, how many births we have taken? The one that devotee was speaking. So he's saying that, can we count the number of sand particles in the river Ganga? Yes. He was saying that the way we are not able to count the sand particles in river Ganga, let me tell you that we have taken much more births as compared to the number of sand particles which are there in river Ganga. He made that statement. So we have taken many, many, many births. And if we don't attain perfection, many happy birthdays are there. Celebrate.
Why is Dharma age capped to 100?
It's like when we say 100, it is a number, which says, which a number which is different from one planetary system to another planetary system. So 100 is okay, but that 100 is having a lot of things, right? Yeah. So that is given in such a way that we'll be able to relate with our lifespan, or like that.
In spiritual practice, chanting name of Lord, any Lord is okay.
Yeah, no problem. But we have to be very particular in the age of Kali because time is very short. There are many mantras in Vedic scriptures, many, and all of them very powerful. No, that's what I'm coming to. So we have got many mantras of many deities that is given, and all of them are powerful. You can chant any mantra, no problem. But then every mantra in the Vedic scripture has got four constraints. Time constraint, you cannot chant any time. Whenever I feel abhi thoda man kar raha hai, chant karo. Place constraint, I cannot chant at any place. I cannot chant in a place which is dirty. I cannot. Then circumstance constraint. A person's consciousness is contaminated, at that time he cannot. Means some say he has gone through a very bad phase, someone dies in the house. During that time he cannot chant. He is going through a different phase of life altogether. And fourth is person's qualification constraint. He should be qualified to chant those mantras. He should be pure. Ek bhi galat khayal nahi aana chahiye. Not even one bad thought. Now it's very difficult to find such thing. So in Vedic scriptures, they know very well in the age of Kali, very difficult for people to follow all the four constraints. So this Maha Mantra is given. Why? To see all the other mantras are called as mantras and this is called as Maha Mantra. The great deliverer mantra. Why? Because this does not have time, place, circumstance, person constraint. Yes, no restriction. Anyone can chant any time. You can chant at any time, even in the middle of the night. Say you just wake up and then you're not getting sleep, start chanting. I do that. Time, place. You can chant even while sitting on the commode. I'm telling that extent. Obviously not on beats. Yes. नहीं तो ऐसे बोलेंगे हो गया मेरा Prabhuji, I'm very regular in chanting. So not that. Place constraint, circumstance constraint. Even if someone dies, even if something bad happens, no problem, we can chant. And person constraint, even if we are the most abominable person with the abominable thought process, no problem, we can chant. By chanting the Maha Mantra, we get purified. So we don't need any, there's no constraint for the mantra, there's no qualification needed, but anyone who chants the Maha Mantra, he becomes qualified. The mantra gives qualification. Understanding? Yeah. If you follow the time, place, constraint thing. It should be a Vedic mantra, but nowadays many mantras are coming just like that. You Google it, you YouTube it, you find many mantras.